Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio with your host, K. William Spencer. This program is geared to help you see what thoughts and or beliefs are holding you back from being your best for yourself and those around you. Your life is only as good as your thoughts. For more information, visit our website at www.ytyrradio.tk. That's www.ytyrradio.tk. Now, here's your host. Hello and welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio. I am K. William Spencer, as usual, your host. Today our guest is Jiggley Jones. You can ask him later about what his real name is if you want to. But anyway, he reminds, if you've heard our other guest on the show every now and then, his name is Stash, and that's all anybody knows him by. So Jiggley says pretty much the same thing. He's been stuck with this little name for 16 years, so everybody knows him by Jiggley. Jiggley is a singer-songwriter, and his genre is alternative country, better known as alt country, and he's from southeastern Pennsylvania. He comes not only with a different name, but he comes with a different style of country music. So, Jiggley, you there?
I'm here.
All right. Well, let's have you tell us what alternate country is, and we'll start from there.
Well, I'm thankful that this kind of genre is now in the works. Country music has changed over the years, and the way it's changing now has really helped out a guy like me who grew up mostly in rock and roll. I grew up listening to Led Zeppelin and the Allman Brothers, not necessarily rock and roll on their part, but a lot of Southern rock, Neil Young, things like that, Tom Petty.
And, I didn't know you were that old. I thought you were younger than that.
Well, it was the stuff that the people that I hung around with were listening to, so that was my thing, I didn't necessarily grow up in that era, maybe the tail end of it or something.
Yeah, that was an era I grew up in. And so you don't look as old as me.
Well, anyway, there's people that have parents that listen to that, and that's how they grow up listening, as far as what their music is growing up. But, what happens is country music has branched out, and I like to, compare that to, say, a river that's running, and all the tributaries that come off the river are little pieces of country music that are a little bit different. And with that thought, that reaches a lot of people that normally wouldn't listen to country music. So it's really broadening the horizon of country music, which is great for, like I said, a songwriter like me who has more of a rock root kind of thing going on. And I love country music, but as far as straight country music goes, it's just not in me. And no matter how hard I try, I'm not right down the middle. I'm a little bit left to center. So that genre is perfect for me. And, it's really cool to hear these different kind of bands and things that have like a country feel to them, but aren't really straight country. So that's alternative country.
Well, it actually sounds interesting because I'm an old jazz fan, but I grew up with rock and roll too. I kind of watched all of these different genres kind of branch out onto their own. It's like, in jazz, I grew up with traditional jazz, and then jazz went into smooth jazz, and then it went into acid jazz, fusion jazz, and just keep on going with it. Now I'm just kind of stuck in that little era that's called lounge and chill. So I understand where you're coming from.
And don't forget bebop also, right? Wasn't that?
Oh, God, yeah, there's so many of them in there. It's just I can't remember them all, but I found my little niche. I'm happy with that one. So, yeah, I'm glad to see, actually, the country music is going that way as well. I used to listen to country music. Actually, I liked bluegrass more than I liked country, but that was my thing way back when. And, it's really good. So tell us more about, tell us a little bit more about what you're doing there. Matter of fact, I'm going to see if we can get a clip from you, and we'll throw it in later if we can.
Okay. I have a record out. It's an EP, which, if you don't know what that means, it's a shorter version of a record. Most records have, say, 10, 12, 14 songs on them. This one only has 4 songs on it. So, sometimes that's done for financial reasons or whatever, or if you have just a few new songs you want to put out real quick. Of course, there's the single, and then there's the EP, and then there's the LP, which is the long version of a record. It has 4 songs on it. It's called No Spring Chicken, which means I'm not 18 anymore. But so it's got a pretty cool cover on it too. It shows a couple chickens that are standing in the snow, which is sort of a play on words there. No spring chicken, get that right?
Yeah.
But it's available on iTunes and all the usual suspects as far as that goes. But you can go to my website and buy it off of there if you're interested. But back to the record. It actually has a Christmas song on it. It was released right before Christmas last year, and that sort of rounds it out. But hopefully, this Christmas coming up, I'll be able to throw that one back out there again. But No Spring Chicken, like I said, has 4 songs on it. There's the first single off the record was called Baby Blue, and that's been out there, and it's getting tons of airplay overseas right now in Europe, Asia, and Australia. And it's gotten a fair amount in the U.S., but most of it right now is happening overseas. The second single is called Ain't That Alright, and that's just starting to get released now. So we'll see where that goes. That's a much different song than the first one.
It seems like there's a lot of artists that I've met that are actually getting their popularity in Europe and other places, and then coming back to claim their place in the United States, their homeland. So tell us, how's that working out for you?
Well, it's I guess the last 3 or 4 weeks I've had somewhere over 250 spins each week overseas. So obviously that's a lot when you're talking about just starting out with a record, but that's very minute compared to anybody that's really on the move, So I'm real happy about that. In the U.S. so far, I've gotten a lot of internet radio play, which is the new craze these days, are internet radio stations. And I've actually charted on the Billboard charts, the Americana charts. I'm really far down there. I'm like in the 300s, but at least I'm on there though. But we'll see where it goes from there. Each time a different song's released. Like Michael, my manager told me that thing could fluctuate by the hundreds on a weekly basis when you're down that low. So, it's something that just happens sometimes. Sometimes when it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, all of a sudden it does. But like I said, right now Europe seems to be the place that's playing me the most.
Okay, I've got a cut here I found for you called, wait a minute, which one am I looking at here? I'm sorry. Okay, let me pause this real quick because there we go. Okay. Jiggley, I found your song, Baby Blue. So why don't you give us an introduction to this song, and we'll listen to it and be right back. So tell us about the song.
Okay, that song was inspired by the little guy you just saw here. When he was born...
that guy in the background.
Yeah, that guy in the background. He's about ready to come into the foreground here. But when he was born, I was going through what they call writer's block, and my wife said, "Why don't you write about your son that was just born?" I said, "That's a good idea. That's why didn't I think of that?" But it's not necessarily about him specifically. It's about the celebration of newborn life. If you're a parent, nothing beats that. And it's sort of a lullaby, and you can picture, the parent rocking the baby to sleep and talking to it and telling it things about life, which obviously the baby doesn't understand, but for some reason parents have a tendency to do that anyway. But it's about that, and people that have kids can relate to it, and that's why I generalized about the whole thing.
Actually, a lot of people have related to it. You've got over 86,000 hits on that one song on YouTube alone.
Yeah.
So let's give you a listen to it.
taking a path that leads it where it needs to follow through. As long as you laugh and stay true, then your life will flow as the rivers do. Miracles, they come around, magic clouds bring the rain on down. Rivers flow, my baby blue. Life has, it has a way to start. Water moves, taking a path that leads it where it needs to follow through. As long as you laugh and stay true, then your life will flow as the rivers do. Miracles, they come around, magic clouds bring the rain on down. Rivers flow, my baby blue. Life has, it has a way to start anew. Miracles, they come around, magic clouds bring the rain on down. Rivers flow, my baby blue. Life will take that road.
Jiggly, that was one very nice song. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Kurt.
Tell us a little bit more about the song, and then tell us about your songwriting and, your songwriting history. What got you into songwriting in the first place?
Well, I'll start out with the song itself. Like I was telling you here a little earlier, that song was inspired by the birth of my son about 2.5 years ago. It's not specifically about him. It's about life in general, and newborn life, being a parent. It's sort of a lullaby of sorts. And it generalizes so other people can relate to it, people that have kids. It's one of the most, if not the most moving experience you'll ever go through. So, it was all based off of the feelings that kind of thing gives you. And, as far as songwriting, I started when I was in my teens playing the bass guitar, and, there was nothing specific that inspired me to do that. Just being a teen, it's one of those things that it seems like as soon as you become a teen, music becomes it comes to the forefront in your life.
Yeah.
That's I knew people that were playing music and this and that, and I played the clarinet back when I was in elementary school, and I sang in the church choir a little bit. But other than that, I didn't dabble in music at all until, like I said, teenage years. Played around in a couple cover bands in the area, and then decided to try my hand at songwriting, and I haven't looked back from that since. So, it's who I am. I mean, it's the one thing in life that I seem to do well. Everybody has a niche, and that seems to be mine. I'm hoping that it plays out in the long run for me.
You just said something that actually makes a lot of sense to a lot of people, and I don't think a lot of people understand what you just said. That's your niche, and a lot of people think, well, that's my hobby. My niche is my hobby, or something that I'm really interested in doing. But if you're doing something that you really don't enjoy doing in a job, you know, a lot of people used to say job is just over broke, J-O-B. Or that thing you get up to do on Monday mornings going, oh man, I gotta go to work. I mean, if that's what you're feeling in your life on a daily basis, then why not do, I mean, you're hearing this, I'm talking to everybody else, all of the listeners here. Why not do what Jiggley Jones is doing here? You've heard one of his, I guess say, fellow clients from Michael Stover. Was Doug Briney, he's changed his whole occupation to chase his dream. And who's the other one that I just got through talking with? God, I can't remember. She's from Missouri, 17 years old.
Josie.
Yeah, Josie, thank you. I'm sorry, her name's a little unusual, so it didn't pop into my mind just right quick. But yeah, and she's 17 years old, and she's chasing her dream already, but she's also going to continue with her higher education. Right. In other words, you're hearing people such as Jiggley, who we're talking to right now, who are just saying, this is my passion, this is what I really love doing, and obviously there's enough people out here that like it, because if you look on YouTube, I only read the first two numbers, 86,000 hits on his song. Okay? So why not chase your own dreams? Why not make this your passion and follow it? I mean, it's not, nobody ever said it's going to be easy. He's even telling you right now, it's not the easiest thing to do. But if he gets where he wants to be, he's doing something that he will just sit back and smile every day and just go, yeah, I got to get up and play today. That's a great thing.
Oh, you know, it's funny. The word I always use in that is persistence. You know, it's when people ask me to tell people that might want to do this kind of thing what to expect, I always say, well, put on a helmet, because it is a difficult road. You're dealing with a major amount of competition. You know, it's very money driven, which I guess everything seems to be. But it's a tough business to get into. But if you believe in what you have, and you have to understand that you have to have a grip on reality with what you're presenting before you delve into this, because it can cost you a lot of money. You know, they say, you know, you have to have money to make money, and in music, you know, you're putting a lot of money, whether it's travel expenses, equipment, recording costs. It adds up. So, you know, in my case, and maybe some of these other people like Doug Briney, we've got a great support group behind us. My wife, there was a time where I took a hiatus from music, and I was burnt out from it. I took a few years off, and I was thinking about not getting back into it. It was driving me nuts, and she talked me into getting back into it. So that's when I started this project. And you know, she supports me. If without that support, I wouldn't be able to do it. It's just I got 3 kids, and it's at that time in my life where, you know, unless I have people behind me, and I know Doug also does. He has a family too, and I think he just relocated to Nashville.
Yep.
So, you know, and Josie, she's young, and she has her family behind her and the whole thing. So, you know, it's good. You know, you don't have to have that, but it certainly helps. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's a long haul.
Yep, and the one thing I'd like to throw in here, because we kind of missed it directly speaking, but I'm going to throw it right in here right now, is what we started out your show with today, which is you're into alt country, as you said it's called, or alternative country. In other words, finding your own niche in there and making it work. In other words, not copying somebody else,
exactly,
but being yourself and making you yourself shine.
Right, that's a curse and a blessing. Blessing and a curse. You know, the blessing part of it is you are separating yourself from others, so you're eliminating that competition that's in your direct front. But the curse of it all is a lot of people don't like something that's new. In other words, they don't like it until they've heard it a lot. And in this business, sometimes you don't have that chance to be heard a lot before someone makes a decision and, you know, and closes the door on you. So Like I said, blessing and curse when it comes to being different. And, I do have something that's a little different, but that makes it tougher sometimes. So.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of music trends that I've actually heard in my lifetime, and a lot of it, who is it? Like, I'll give it, for instance, or an example, is Chick Corea on the jazz side. He started out in traditional jazz, and then he went into something else. I think it was called fusion, and he started it, and it was different, but he actually, he made it what it is today.
Okay.
So everybody's got a place in life to make something. Something that really encouraged me a long time ago was just always be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else because everybody else is taken. On top of that, there's always going to be somebody out there just like you that likes what you like, and they will be your supporters. So go for it.
A great point. That is a great point.
So, now, let's go for that question. You said everybody always asks you from the start, and so I decided to be different. Let's do it later on in the show.
Everybody's saying, what the heck kind of name is that? Jiggley Jones.
There you go.
But the funny thing is, everybody seems to like it. When that name first came out, like I said, 16 years ago, I was playing in a band up in New York, and it was a word or a name that was floating around at a gathering we had one night with a bunch of friends, and somehow it got stuck on me. I still don't know exactly how it did. It was sort of a funny kind of joke thing. Everybody loved it, and it spread like wildfire in that certain circle of friends up there. And, before I know it, everybody knew me as Jiggley. And when I started this project 6 years ago, I decided to bring my nickname into it instead of using my normal name, which is Brian, and that could be a little boring. So everybody seems to like it. And in this business, if you don't have something going on that catches someone's eye or ear right off the bat, it's really hard to get noticed. I figured why not have a name that's a little bit more memorable, or whatever you would say. So There you go. It was a business decision, and luckily I had a nickname that people seem to like. So.
Well, that's good. I mean, there's nothing like capitalizing on what you've got. I mean, it's kind of like having the name Leonard is not such a big deal, but you put Leonard and Skinner together, and what do you got to definitely have a name that's going to be remembered. So, yeah, definitely.
Jones flows just like Leonard and Skinner, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, tell us a little bit more about your musical experience, and you've got roughly about 5 minutes before we go into break, so Tell us a little bit more.
Well, right now I'm playing out live as much as possible, and usually that means just me and my guitar. It's me and old Betsy that go out there and do most of the performances. I just got done down in Nashville playing the CMA Fest, which is a huge deal down there. I played at B.B. King's Blues Club. That was a real cool experience. That whole festival was just unbelievable. The streets of Nashville are just packed with people that come from all over the world. And it starts with the CMA awards that happened earlier in the week, and then from that point on, it becomes this one show after the other. All the big names and stuff. They do stadium shows down there in the football stadium where the Tennessee Titans play. And all the other aspiring bands that we play on the streets, in the bars, and you could walk up and down the streets and go in one bar. Now it was a really neat, and right now I'm back up in the Philadelphia area playing as much as possible. I shoot up in New York once in a while. I just got booked at the Bitter End up there in August. Which is a really cool place. And I've played in New York numerous times in the past, probably almost more than I have in Philadelphia. So I really like New York City, believe it or not, a place to hang out, maybe not live. But even though I did live up there for a while, I played in a band. I was up in a band up there for like 3 years. So that's where I got my nickname from. So, and like I said, that's what I'm doing right now. The record is out, and it's all about performing live at this point.
Drawing your crowds in, getting noticed, and then you can go out and make the LP.
Right, exactly.
There you go. Well, from what I gather, Michael Stover is one great agent. I know I like working with him, so he says he likes to keep you guys busy. So, yeah, I guess you're going to be on that road again, getting there.
Yeah, he is great. I'll tell you what, he is a one hard-working guy. Let me tell you that. And every time I check my emails, there's always something going on. He's always posting. You know, he does our promotions, publicity, all that stuff too. Not only that, you know, just the artist direction thing, but he actually promotes us and all that. So there's always posts up that he puts up, and it's a good feeling to, you know, hit the computer and see all this stuff he's done on a daily basis. So, you know, I couldn't ask for more.
Sounds good. Well, Jiggly, hold on a moment. Yeah. I guess it's late for both of us. Hold on a moment while we go into a commercial break, and we'll be right back, people. Please stay with us. We're having an interview with Jiggley Jones. When we come back from commercial break, we'll find out a little bit more about him on our slingshot effect. And so stay tuned.
Are you ready to put an end to thinking about how you wish it were and take action? Take this step to find out more by going to coachingbyria.com. And you can receive your free consultation session with Coach Ria.
Hi, this is K. William Spencer of Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio. Join us every Tuesday and Thursday for enlightening, humorous, and intriguing conversations that I have with my co-host or our guest, all to help you look at life and your choices differently. For more information, go to www.ytyrradio.tk, or if you prefer, www.ytyrradio.wordpress.com. Hi, and welcome back to Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio with your host, me, K. William Spencer. And today my guest again is Jiggley Jones, country music singer, songwriter, and alternative or alt country music. He's going to take us back on that slingshot effect and he's going to come back in time to tell us about some place in time where things actually began to change for him. And as you know, this is not a scripted show, so he's going to just go at it from wherever he feels it's good to tell you.
Okay, I think we touched on this a little bit earlier about a hiatus that I took from music. You know, music is who I am, and you know, I went through, you know, let's say maybe a decade of songwriting and, you know, becoming what I was in the music world, and it was more towards a rock thing back when I was young. You know, and I worked real hard. I had a few times where I had the professional management that was representing me. When I was really young, I had a manager that was located in London, England. And you know, I'll even go back a little bit further. I was playing around the local area here and in the Philadelphia area, and I felt like I was beating my head against the wall. I wasn't getting anywhere, so I decided to send some demo stuff out to Los Angeles, and I got a couple people out there interested in me. So I ended up moving out there, and I got hired by a guy who I was hoping that was going to become my manager, but at the time he didn't have the budget to manage a band, so he suggested that I come to work for him. And what he had was an entertainment public relations firm along Wilshire Boulevard, which is, if you're not from Los Angeles, it's a famous area in town. It's right below Hollywood. So, you know, he was involved in doing public relations work for different entertainers and things. For example, one of them was a producer of or director of documentary films. Had put out a documentary about ghost towns throughout the U.S., throughout the West, which is really interesting, very well done. And it was narrated by Will Rogers Jr., famous guy. And, you know, I was basically the office worker, this young dude that was like in awe of what was going on around me at the time. I got to sit in on an interview between Will Rogers Jr. and this guy named Army Archer, which was a famous Los Angeles Hollywood Reporter guy. I think that was the name of the newspaper or whatever magazine that he wrote for. And I was the guy that hooked up their conference call, and I got to sit there and listen to these two icons talking to each other. So that was an example of what I had gotten involved in out there. In the meantime, this guy in London had heard my demo and signed me to a management deal. So after 6 months in Los Angeles, I moved all the way back to the East Coast and got involved in recording and trying to get a record deal back in the East Coast. So I was at one point I was doing lots of showcases for major labels, anywhere from Sire, Warner Brothers to RCA to Sony. You know, I was really on a high at that point. I thought for sure this was going to happen. Basically, what I'm getting at is how frustrating this business can be. It's an emotional roller coaster ride, and you go through so many ups and downs. You know, and speaking for myself and most people that get involved in this, you know, the successful ones are only a very small percent, and I mean successful meaning like they do it for a good solid living and they become what people know as famous. The rest of us, you know, sometimes we just kick around for a while to the point where you just can't take it anymore, and that's what happened with me. Eventually, you know, that fell through, and I ended up in this band in New York that I was telling you about, and we did some things for MTV, some soundtrack stuff on some of their TV shows, the reality shows and stuff, Road Rules and things like that. So, you know, it got to a point where I just was burnt out, and I decided to get away from it. And, you know, I wasn't sure that I was going to quit forever, but I'll tell you what, it really took an emotional toll on me. I mean, this is who I was. This is what I lived 24/7. And to all of a sudden realize that maybe I wasn't going to, you know, what they call make it in the business, it really tore me down. I really got depressed. You know, I ended up getting a job at a factory, and you know, it was a good thing at first, and you know, it toyed with me constantly, and I knew that this is something that I found myself talking about it to people, and eventually I ended up meeting somebody and getting married, and you know, we had a kid. We had 2 kids, 2 daughters, and one day, I don't know how I got on the subject or whatever. I think I got a call from one of my old bandmates or something, and you know, it sparked an idea in my wife, and she hadn't gone through those years with me. She was new to my life as far as where I was. She married the factory worker, you know, and she said, "Why don't you get back in music?" And I was like, "What are you crazy?" I was like, "Do you realize what you're saying? I mean, that's that you just don't do that. If you want to get back into it and you're a songwriter, you just don't do it on the weekends. It's nothing that you can ever think to achieve anything by making it a hobby." And I think a lot of times people that aren't involved in it don't realize that. They think it's nothing but fun. And it's very stressful. It's very time consuming. It can drain you financially. And these were all the things that I was warning her about, you know, about getting back into this. And she said, "So what? Just let's do it. What do you got to lose, you know?" So I said, "Hey, you don't have to tell me twice." Mm-hmm. And I jumped right back into it. And this was 6 years ago. And, you know, it took a couple years of demoing, you know, with myself and trying to find a niche that I was going to fit into musically with, you know, where I was in my life at the time. You know, and I was going to try to do something that I knew that she would like. She was a big country music fan. And so it was an acoustic guitar that I had an old 12-string sitting in the closet still. I got that thing out and restrung it and started messing around and writing music and recording it. And you know, nothing happens real quick in this thing. If you're writing music, it takes time to develop. And after, you know, 4 or 5 years of it, I started playing out, and you know, it was a one step at a time kind of thing, and as long as I was moving forward, I was happy with it. And then you know, recently, meaning like within the last 6 months, I ended up signing a management deal with Michael Stover, And since then, things have taken off tenfold for me, and I'm right back in the game. So once again, I find myself really tired because it really wears you down. I mean, it not just physically but mentally. You're writing songs. It's hard to explain. It really drains you, and that's where I stand right now. And not to mention, I have 3 kids now, and my wife works in the evening, so I have the kids a lot of times myself. So whenever I play out, she's taking a vacation day to watch them. Sometimes she ships them off to her parents. But they're the love of my life, and it's so much fun just watching them grow up. And they've pretty much grown up around my music now. So, my 2 youngest know me as the songwriter, and my oldest saw me before I was doing that again, which is pretty interesting. She has a different view on Daddy. But, she got to see the whole thing start, and she's 12 and a half now, so wow. She's a pretty smart character. But, the little guy, his name is Wesley. We call him Wiggly Jones.
That's cute.
He knows nothing but music. I mean, I'm deep into it. When he was born, you're talking about 24/7 here. He's dancing and he's pretending like he's playing the guitar. And I had a show I did back in the wintertime, and it was an all ages show at a coffee house, and he hopped up on stage in the middle of my set, and I had to stop. I mean, which is a big no. I had to stop it right in the middle of a song. I couldn't help it. I just started laughing, and he's standing up there like clapping, and everybody in the audience just started busting up laughing. It was a great scene, and we got it on film. My buddy follows me around. He's a really good photographer. He got a sequence of pictures of him up on stage, and he basically stole the show, and it was really neat. But that's all he knows. I mean, he knows Daddy as the songwriter guy, and he's really taken a liking to music himself. And I'm not even going to have to push this guy. He's going to definitely be a musician. I can tell already. So, maybe the other 2 will be too. I know Avery. She's my oldest. She plays violin, and she's pretty good for the little bit of time she spends on it. She's sort of a jack of all trades. But it's a tough road, and like I said before, when you have some people behind you, it really helps. It really does. It's almost impossible to think otherwise. And my kids really love what I'm doing, and my wife's the one that talked me back into it. And it's almost like things happen for a reason, if you believe in that, which I do. Me meeting Michael Stover, I actually met him through Twitter. I saw this management company, and I hit him up, and I said, "You looking for any new artists?" And he got back to me. He said, "Ironically, I'm looking for one more at this point." And he said, "Send me to a link to your music," and I did. And he really liked it. And within a week, I say we were signed up. And I had been sending songs out to people probably for 2 months prior to that, and not getting very far, getting a little interest here and there. But it was almost like it was meant to be. Michael Stover, like I said, one of the hardest working individuals I've ever met. He loves his craft. He's really good at it, and I happen to be lucky enough to be working with him. So right now, this thing is sitting in a spot that can really be beneficial for everybody involved. And it's just the tip of the iceberg right now, and I'm really excited about that. And I've actually gotten some interest from some record companies and things. You never know what direction that's going to go. So it's really coming into its own right now. So that's where it stands, and I'm looking forward to the future. Every day is really cool when I get to check out what's going on with management and things. So
yeah, I'm thinking about Michael right now, and from the start, he and I seem to hit it off pretty good, except for, hey, let's talk on Skype. He says, I broke my headset, and I don't talk on it enough to buy a new one. Okay, fine, we can text, that's no problem. But everything that he does, at least when we talk he just seems to make everything just run so, it seems like he's just cruising through everything. But everybody I talk to that's working with him, he is just like you said. He's one of the hardest working guys around, but he just seems to make it so easy.
Yes.
But then again, it seems like is what we've been talking about is he's doing his passion. He's living his passion.
Right.
Yeah, and when you're doing your thing that you enjoy doing, it is easy. The work is, it's tedious if nothing else, but you enjoy it so much. It's not like getting up and, oh man, I gotta go do this. I have to go do this. It's just like with me. When I get up in the morning, I get up and I do the things that I need to do, including meditation, and I just sit down to my computer and I just start working. It's like nobody has to tell me to do it because this is what I enjoy doing.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
and he's like we were talking about before, everybody seems to have a niche, and that's definitely his niche. I mean, he's a natural at it. And, I'm by no means a salesman or anything like that. And I need a guy like that on my side, and I have that.
Mm-hmm.
In music, you have to sell, and he's always pushing me to try to sell myself, sell CDs at my shows and things like that. And it's tough for me. I'm a songwriter. That's what I do. I'm one of those weirdos, So,
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I worked in marketing. I can market, I can advertise, I can promote anybody else. I can't do it for myself, unfortunately. I don't know. I think it's just a built-in thing for me. It's don't go there. Just promote everybody else. But anyhow, there's something here. Let's see. I wrote it down because I knew I would forget it if I didn't. The one thing that you're talking about. And actually, two things. Never give up is the thing we always hear. And it's easy to say, never give up, never give up. But there are times, as you said, there's just times where you just have to sit back and take a breath. How long that breath is up to you. But when you get back into it, it's when it's just that's the time that you needed to be in it. And the other time was the time that you needed to sit back and go, I need to take a break. Because, as you said, I've been working at this, I've been pushing, I've been promoting, I've been doing everything else, and you just hit a point where you just got fried. And pretty much that's the way I feel on Friday nights.
Right.
After doing this Monday through Friday, it's like Friday night. I turn off everything that has to do with business, and I just relax. If I don't, I just... You ever had those nights or days where you go to bed and you wake up like 12, 15 hours later because you're just so tired?
I used to before I had kids.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Yeah, right. So they don't let you do that, but that would be nice. That would be really. I could use a couple of those days, like right around now.
Yeah, and it's just sometimes you just have to stop for a while. And then, relax for a day or two, and then you get right back into it, and it's like everything is good. You're going with it. Right. But, yeah, I've been where you've been. I had 2 kids of my own, and my wife worked afternoons because I was working at that time. I was working as an accountant, and accounting department only worked, daytime. And she was working in medical records at a hospital, so that was something that went around the clock 24 hours a day. Okay. So she went into the afternoon shift, and I came home, took care of the kids. She went off to work. So it was kind of it was a cool thing to do back then. So anyhow, getting back to you, everything in its own time. Tell us a little bit more.
Well, timing, there you go. That you hit the nail on the head with that. I mean, this time around, I'm fresh now, and at least I was when I started this project out. And funny you should mention timing, because timing is everything in music too. So in life, music mirrors life, and like you're saying, timing is everything. And in this case, the timing was perfect as far as where I am right now. And and up till then, everything was a step forward. And right when I got to a point where I felt like I was plateauing with the promotions of this music that I was doing on my own, is when I met Michael Stover. So timing there once again. You know, and I'm not sure what else to say about, you know, we're to the present in what I'm saying. All I know is that I'm sitting in a spot right now that I want to be, and that I'm within this next, by the end of this year, by the time, you know, this Christmas song plays itself out again this year, I can't imagine myself not being that much more forward in the whole thing. So, you know, the frustrations that I've learned in the past, everything's coming to fruition now, and I feel a vibe right now that's that I've never felt before. Maybe it's because I'm older and I recognize that kind of thing, whereas when you're younger, you don't see it. You're just on this high all the time, this energy high, where you're constantly on the move. You know, as you get older, you pick and choose. I guess they call that wisdom, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm comfortable with that wisdom that I have now from what I've learned in the past. All the things that I can take shortcuts with with the same result can come out of, you know. So, like I said, I'm real comfortable with where I am right now, and I have a really good feeling about this, and you know, I'm along for the ride, and it's great that I have that support at home that's helping me through all that. But you know, that's pretty much it as far as the story of how this thing has progressed since when I was young. I do remember one thing I failed to mention. When I was really young in elementary school, I wanted to play the drums, and my parents wouldn't let me. You know, it was too loud, so I ended up with the clarinet, which is, you know, wasn't my first choice, obviously. You know, the thing is, I had a younger brother that by the time he got old enough to do that kind of thing, he ended up playing the drums. Now, how's that work? You know, I guess because he was the youngest, he was the spoiled one, and they let him do whatever he wanted to. But he ended up playing the drums. He still plays the drums around town here in some of the local bands and things. But you know, it's funny how things get started, and you know how you get shut out, and you move around that, and you grab something else and you keep going. It's that perseverance that you need to you know, to take yourself to the next level. But I thought I'd add that in there. I thought that was pretty funny now that I'm looking back at it, you know. But I could have been a drummer now instead of you know, a different kind of musician if that would have played out the way I wanted it to back when I was a kid. So.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. There seems to be very few people that go along the lines of Gene Krupa, Buddy Guy, and who's more modern is Phil Collins. They're rarities as far as drummers that became soloists. Right. Where somebody who's a singer-songwriter plays a guitar, they seem to hit the limelight a lot quicker, a lot easier.
Don Henley from the Eagles is another guy that is a great songwriter. But yeah, I mean that's that, you know, now that we're off on that tangent there, you know, songwriting is a different beast in itself. I mean, you know, you can be a great musician, but you're not necessarily a songwriter. You can be a great songwriter, but you're not necessarily a good musician. Mm-hmm. You know, there's plenty of great songwriters that weren't great guitar players, you know, but yeah. There's also plenty of great guitar players that didn't turn out to be great songwriters, but that their craft is their instrument. And, you know, all that fits together in the world of music, you know.
Actually, you're saying something that actually makes a lot of sense. It's just, where does your soul find its expression? And as you're saying, some people can write great songs because that's the expression for their soul to come out and just go, okay, this is my expression. This is how I express it. And it's in writing a song. Other people in writing books, or in some other people's just playing an instrument, whatever that instrument is, or even just singing, whatever. What I'm actually getting at is just kind of taking a little, or going a little diversion from what you're just saying, is finding your niche, whatever your niche is, talking to the audience here, finding your niche and just let your soul express what it is that you do.
Absolutely. You know, and referring to my EP, No Spring Chicken, when I recorded that, I brought in probably about 10 different people, musicians, session players that I knew from around town, that I specifically picked because of their style of music that they played, and they put their personality into my record. You know, we sat down and we talked about the different parts and things, and you know, songwriters need those type of people to work with. I mean, you know, this record wouldn't be what it is without those specific people. You know, and their niche is they came in there and we sat down and we worked out these parts that fit into the music, and that's what they do, and they're good at it. That's all part of the puzzle, and it's a necessary piece. And you know, speaking of the record and how it was recorded, it was done in a little bit of an unusual way, but I guess nowadays not quite as unusual. The drums and the bass were actually recorded in Los Angeles. A friend of mine who co-produced the record with me, he has a studio out there, and he's the real deal when it comes to knowing the equipment and things. And he sort of talked me through that side of it. But I recorded all the other instruments, the vocals and all the melodic instruments back here in Pennsylvania, using my wife's walk-in closet as the sound room. So it was a perfect place for me to set up a microphone and record all these people, and plus my vocals, because you know, we sit right underneath of an airport, I guess the landing zone where they come in and land. So there's always helicopters flying over and airplanes, and so to cut that noise out, you know, that closet was perfect because the closet's within the bedroom, so it's a room within a room, you know.
And then you've got all the clothes in there to absorb all the outside sounds.
Exactly, all those clothes in there. Those people were probably so tired of looking at it when they're crammed in this little closet, you know, trying to play a violin and trying to, you know, do all that kind of thing in a banjo and this, that, and the other in that room. So, you know, with the digital technology that we have these days, I was able to send these recorded files, you know, via the internet, out to Los Angeles, and he downloaded them, and he basically did the mix out there. So, you know, like I said, the drums and the bass were recorded out there. He sent them back to me, and I did everything here and sent it all back to him, and then he mixed it out there. So, you know, that you're talking about at that point 12 people that were involved in this project, and we're 3,000 miles apart, and you know, all necessary for what was done. So, you know, everybody's niche came into play, and there you go.
You got me laughing because it's just like, if there's a will, there's a way.
And, you know, I have to be honest with you, I wished I didn't have to do it that way. It's better to have everybody in one place so you can really work the parts out and gel and stuff. But, you know, because of financial reasons and this, that, and the other, and the fact that, you know, Chris Tristram, the guy in Los Angeles, is one of my idols when it comes to music. And I trust him with anything I ever give him. You know, that there's the reasons why it was done that way. So,
no, definitely. Well, here we're coming up to the end of the show, so I'm going to ask you a quickie question here, and I'd like to hear what your opinion is on this in the last, say, 2 minutes or so. There's a quote that I like, and it seems to be something that you're living by, even though you may not. I don't know if you've ever heard this quote or not, but I'd like to hear your opinion on it. The quote is, we oftentimes hear people say, "I'll believe it when I see it." And the actual side of it is, and you're living this, is, "I'll see it when I believe it."
Wow. Man, it's too late to think about that. My mind's not working that good. Wow. Say that again. Not the whole thing, but, you know, just the...
Well, okay. It's just, the expression is, "I'll believe it when I see it." The actual side of it is, and you're living it, is, "I'll see it when I believe it."
Huh. Well, man, I need some coffee for that one.
Well, let me give you a little helping hand. I know it's late over there, and was it almost 10:30 there? Let's put it this way. The part that I'm talking about that I see with you, and I know it's been a long day, you got 3 kids and you're there home alone with the kids. What I'm talking about here is like when you were working at it so hard, you got burned out, you gave it up. And then your wife talked you back into it, and you believed in her encouragement to get back into the music field. You saw it. You saw the possibilities, and you got back into it, and things just started working because you believed it.
Right. Well, I sort of touched on that earlier about, if you decide to get involved in this kind of thing, you have to believe in yourself first. And like you're saying, I'll see it when I believe it. Well, when I believe it, I believe in myself. That's when you'll see the light, basically. If you go on this thing called Reverb Nation as a musician, you'll find that there are around the world 50,000 bands and artists and things, and that's probably just some of them. So within that 50,000 bands, there's 20,000 of them that are just average. There's 10,000 more that are above average but not great, and there's 20,000 of them that are really good, if not great. So if you want to be great, you have to believe that what you have is something that's going to achieve that level, or you're really going to frustrate yourself. In other words, you have to understand the reality of where you stand at that point, and if you need to make that better, then you have to go and do it. So, you have to believe in what you have 100% before you'll see anything that will bring you to the satisfaction of where you need to be with it. Does that fit into that?
Definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely. Jiggley, I definitely appreciate you having the time to be on the show. I know you're dealing with your youngest child that kept coming into the room and whatnot. He wants to be with Daddy.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your time, and you're welcome to come back here anytime you want to, especially when you're a little bit more awake. And then I can actually ask you about this hat of yours that makes you look a little bit like Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Wow.
Well, that's another time.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you very much for being here. Thanks for your inspirational words of life, telling us about your life, what you're doing, and how you got there, and actually this side that is so motivational. I know you weren't using the quotes. I'm not one who's great on quotes, but I remember what they mean more than I say anything else. And thank you for your wife for actually encouraging you to get back into your passion and supporting you along the way. So anytime you want to come back, let me know, and you're welcome to come back. And Michael, thank you for your client. All of them are great people. So everyone else, thank you for being a part of the show. And if you want to catch up with Jiggley Jones, know more about him, you can go to jigglyjones.com. That's JIGGLEYJONES, all one word, .com. You can find his links to Facebook and everything else right there on his homepage, just like you could do on my website for the radio show. And if you want to hear his song, I just put it on here, but if you want to see it on YouTube, just go by the title that's there, which is Baby Blue. And you can see how many people have hit that song. Great song. Anyway, thanks again, Jiggley, and we'll talk to you soon, I hope.
Thanks, Kirk. I appreciate it.
All righty. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio. Please make a note to join us again on our next broadcast. For more information, visit our website at www.ytyrradio.tk. That's www.ytyrradio.tk. Our theme music is Soul Controlled by B.O. Crew under a Creative Commons License 3.0. See our website for more information.